when we have beyond its pure being something like an existential intensity. There I have said it, existence, existential. What is the process of definition of existence in the transcendental framework of appearing or being there? Existence is the name or the value of the identity function when it is applied to one and the same element. It's, so to speak, the measure of the identity of a thing to itself. Given a word and an identity function having its value in the transcendental of this world, we will call existence of a thing that appears in this world. The transcendental degree, the signal, the identity of this thing to itself. Thus defined, existence is not a category of being. It is a category of appearing. In particular, to exist has no sense in itself. According, in fact, to an intuition of thought, to exist can only be said relatively to the world. In effect, existence is not only the transcendental degree, it indicates the intensity of appearance of a multiplicity in a determinate world. And this intensity is in no way prescribed by the pure multiple composition of the thing in consideration. We can apply to existence the formal remarks of the previous part of my lecture. Is, for example, the degree of identity of a thing to itself is the maximum degree. We can say that the thing exists in this world without any limitation. The multiplicity in this world completely affirms its own identity. Symmetrically, if the degree of identity of a thing to itself is the minimum degree, we can say that this thing does not exist in this world. The thing is in the world, but with a reflexive intensity which is equal to zero. So we can say that its existence is a non-existence. We have here a striking example of the distinction between being and existence. The thing is in the world, but its appearance in this world is the destruction of its identity. So, the being there of this thing is to be inexistent as the world. The theory of the inexistence of the world is very important in politics like in philosophy. The question of the inexistence in the world. I have shown, for example, that the intuition of the inexistent is fundamental in Jacques Derrida's work. Often, the existence of a multiplicity world is neither maximal nor minimal. The multiplicity exists to some extent. So we can see that existence, finally, is something like the possible variation of being when it is exposed to appearing in the world. To conclude, I would like to summarize all this abstract theory with a question linked to the concept of existence, the question of death. We have given a rigorous definition of existence. I recapitulate. The existence of any multiple relatively to a world is the degree according to which in this world the multiple appears as identical to itself. Formally, the existence of a multiple relatively to the world is the value in the transcendental of this world of the identity function applied to the multiple itself. If the identity to itself of the appearing of a multiple is maximal, then in the world this multiple exists absolutely. Or else its existence is coextensive with its being. If, on the contrary, the identity function is minimal, the existence of the multiple in the world is null. The multiple inexists in this world, which means that its existence is totally disconnected from its being. And then we will find intermediary cases in which the thing exists in a certain measure. It is essential to remember that existence is not a category of being as such, but a category of appearing. It's only by its being there that a thing exists. And this existence is that of the degree of existence situated between inexistence and absolute existence. Existence is both a logical concept and an intensive concept. It is this dual status that permits us to wrestle with that. We are first tempted to say that the thing is dead when in the world of reference its degree of existence is minimal, or when it inexists in this world. Accepting a thing is dead will be tantamount to concluding that identity of the thing to itself is equal to the minimal degree, which also would mean that death is the absolute non-identity to self. But absolute non-identity to self defines inexistence and not death. Death must be something other than inexistence. Death happens, and this happening necessarily concerns an existent. Death is the coming of the minimal value of existence for a thing which has a positive evaluation of its identity. Death is not the minimal value as such. All that can be asserted of dying is that it is a change in appearing. the effect of which is that a thing passes from an existence with a positive intensity, even if it is not maximum, to an existence that is meaningful, that is to say, relatively to the world. The whole problem is what does such passage consist of. We limit ourselves to two remarks. The passage from one identity of existent value to another cannot be an immanent effect of the multiplicity concerned. For this being has precisely no other immanence to the situation, to the world, and consequently to its own identity, than the degree of existence itself. The passage, is necessarily the result of an exterior cause, which affects locally or globally the logical evaluations of the laws of the beings there in the world. In other words, what occurs in death is a change in the identity function of a given individual. This change is always imposed on the dying thing, and this imposition comes from outside the thing. The precise formula is Spinoza's. I quote, "No thing whatever can be destroyed except by an exterior cause." So it is impossible to say of a multiple or thing that it is mortal. If we understand by that it is immanently necessary for it to die. At the most, we can admit that death is possible for it, in the sense that a sudden change of the identity function can affect it, and that this change can be the minimization of its identity, and so of its degree of existence. It follows that the meditation of death is in itself vain, as Spinoza also declared. Quote, "The free man thinks of nothing less than of his death, and this wisdom is a meditation of life, and not a meditation on death. It is because death is only a consequence. What thought must turn towards is the event which locally transforms the identity function." All of this indicates why we cannot agree with the philosophy of mortality and finitude. There is no political status of death, because existence is nothing other than a transcendental degree. We can ask with St. Paul, "Death, where is your victory?" Dying, just like existing, is a mode of being there, and therefore a purely logical correlation.